Yes. There we go. Welcome to week 7 or session 7 of the Calm and Nourished Mom. This week, we're going to talk about reclaiming your rest. So, we talked about sleep already, and sleep is one type of rest. And usually, I can get women on board with the fact that they need to sleep at night. Like they can acknowledge, yeah, they can see how that is necessary. But there is another form of rest that is not just sleep. It can be sleep, but it isn't just sleep. And it's necessary for people, but moms in particular tend to be the ones who aren't willing to buy into this type of rest. Um, it's necessary for true recovery, for hormone balance, um, for robust mental health. It's important for all of that. So, today we're going to talk about why sleep alone isn't enough to truly heal. And you might not feel like you're in a place where you need to heal, but it's all the same, right? If you're having symptoms, symptoms aren't normal. There are bodies like our warning signs. So, if you feel like you're having symptoms, you have healing that needs to take place. So, sometimes I hear a lot of women, not sometimes, I often hear my clients say that they're exhausted. They're exhausted even after they sleep. Like they'll sleep all night, they might sleep 7, 8 hours, maybe even 9 hours, but they still wake up feeling tired. And this is because moms, women, and moms in general tend to have this chronic stress that keeps them in go mode 24/7. I know even when I'm sleeping at night, like we'll kind of say like we sleep with one eye open in case the kids need us or in case we hear just different noises at night that make us worried like maybe they're throwing up and it's going to make a big mess for us and we need to make sure and get them to a bucket or a toilet in time, or maybe they tripped and fell on their way to the restroom or things like that. It is, I find that moms tend to have that worry and they'll sleep with one eye open. Sometimes, though, that's not the case, and they're trying to sleep, and like I said, they still wake up feeling unrefreshed. Or when they're taking like their wind down time, it's with the phone or with the TV. Like they're not actually maybe disengage. Maybe you're disengaging from your family or you're disengaging from your work, but you're engaged in your phone and you're constantly scrolling or you're watching TV. I'm not against phones. I'm not against TV, but it is not giving you that restful state that we need for recovery. It's still keeping that tired and wired stage going. So your body needs nervous system recovery, not just hours in bed. Your nervous system needs hours to rest. So when I say rest, a lot of times people think like, you mean sleep at night? You mean take a nap? Yes, though those do count, but there are different types of rest. So there's physical rest, and that is where we're not moving around heavily. It's maybe like more gentle movement or stillness. There's mental rest where we just kind of quiet our mind and just be, which can be very challenging. There's sensory rest where we're unplugging from noise, from screens, from visual overstimulation, maybe from too many bright lights. We're just kind of unplugging from all the different like the sensations around us. Emotional rest, like letting go of performing or letting go of feeling the need to hold everything together. And then there's creative rest. So creative rest might be where you're making something beautiful, you're involved in nature, you're doing something that makes you feel inspired. And we'll get into some examples of those things in a little bit. So this all ties back to nervous system regulation. When we're doing those different types of rest, creative rest, physical rest, mental rest, sensory rest, we're giving our nervous system a break. We're not in that constant go mode, and it allows our nervous system to get into that parasympathetic state a little more easily. And this is, again, this parasympathetic state, this is where our hormones can be more balanced, our blood sugar can be more even, our digestion restores, our immunity strengthens, and our mental health has a fighting chance to be able to be strong and robust. So some ideas, what are some ideas for ways to do this? And I like to call it, so we like to be productive, right? We want to be productive all day long. I have my to-do list right here. Like I have my calendar listed out. I do have it in a Google calendar, but I still like my pen and paper. I have my to-do list with the check boxes. I love checking off a box. And I have, all the things I need to do today. It's very easy for me to get stuck in productive mode. Like, what do I need to do to be productive today? But what I really want to shift to is to find ways to participate in non productive time. And this usually, like, this is where my clients tend to be like, wait, like, That doesn't even make any sense. Why do I want to be non-productive? Because when we're producing, we're being productive, we're in a turned on state, like we're active, we're activated. We don't need to be activated all day long. We want to take it down a notch. We want to get into that sympathetic state, that rest mode. So some things where you can do this is read a fiction book. Now, behind me, I have a bookcase loaded with books. None of them are fiction. Um, I am very much have a tendency to be, if I'm going to read, I'm going to learn. If I'm going to read, I'm going to learn something new, something I can apply. It's going to be a health book, a parenting book, a marriage book, um, something, a Bible study. All of those things are good. None of those things are bad, but those things have a purpose. They have a purpose to be productive, to learn, to grow. So reading a fiction book is a good example of this. Reading a fiction book is it's non-productive, right? It's not producing anything other than getting you into a restful state, hopefully. Taking a walk in silence. Um, a lot of the women that I talk to and work with, when they go for walks, they're multitasking. They're going for a walk and listening to a podcast. They're going for a walk and catching up on their email while they're walking. They're going for a walk, maybe on a treadmill and doing a Zoom meeting at the same time. And again, that's not bad, but find times to go for walks, ideally outdoors, ideally in nature. If you can get to the woods on a trail in silence, not listening to a podcast, not listening to music. Those, again, those things aren't bad, but just allowing your mind to be still, allowing your body to be present and your mind to be present and observing the things you see, hearing the birds, hearing the nature sounds. Maybe it's just the wind blowing the leaves. Walking in silence is one of those things. Sitting outside and doing nothing. This used to aggravate me so much, but I've kind of trained myself to do this because one of the things one of my health habits is to go outside and get the morning sunlight. And I will take my cup of coffee with me and I'll go sit on the deck and I will sit on the deck and I will do nothing. And I used to do this for 60 seconds, literally 60 seconds, and then I would move on. But I found like just sitting out there, and I'm not like doing nothing, nothing. I'm observing, I'm looking at the trees, I'm listening to the different birds that I can hear in the morning. I'm seeing the squirrels run up and down the trees, watching the birds, listening and watching two different things. Sometimes my neighbor is bringing out their dog and I'm just observing those things, but I'm not doing anything productive. I'm just resting. Taking a nap, that's not necessarily what we're talking about, but taking a nap can definitely be a way that you can rest. Doing a craft or a hobby that you enjoy. So I know one of the things that I always wanted to do, I want to learn how to knit or how to crochet. I haven't done that yet, but I've heard that that's very like cathartic, very therapeutic just to sit there and do that repetition. You're not necessarily being unproductive because you are creating something, but when we're talking about creative energy, that's a little bit different. Like if you're creating something that's not work related, that's different. Like knitting a blanket, knitting a scarf, whatever other things you can knit. Scrapbooking is another one that some people like to do. Doing puzzles. I love a good puzzle. I tend to only do Christmas puzzles, so I do puzzles in the winter, not so much in the summer, but you get what I'm getting at. Like those types of things like beadwork could be another one. That where you're painting, drawing, anything where you're using creative energy, right? Like if you go to Hobby Lobby and head to those back aisles, the things in those back aisles that allow you to use your creative energy. And I know there are other things, but those are the ones that come to my mind. Stretching in the sunlight. So going outside when it's sunny. Sometimes I'll take my chair and I'll bring it down into the grass and I'll like take off my shoes, put my bare feet on the ground. If you've heard of like grounding or earthing, this helps to discharge some of that energy in our body, like the actual physical energy in our body. But just going outside and actually like doing stretches, raising your arms, it can be yoga type stretches, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be going outside and just like sometimes I'll just stretch my arms out and I'll just like put my face up to the sun and just sit there and enjoy the sun, let the sunlight hit my face. Soaking in an Epsom salt bath, you can double this with reading a book, reading a fiction book while taking an Epsom salt bath. You can also weave in some calming essential oils like lavender, put those right in the salts before you put them in your bath. That can be a non-productive way to rest. And then with all of these things, I'm encouraging you turn off your phone. Turn it right off, put it in vibrate mode. If that's enough for you, put it in airplane mode. If it's not, or leave it completely in a different room. Like when I'm taking my bath, sometimes I have my phone, sometimes I don't. If I'm reading a book, my phone is definitely in do not disturb, because I am paying attention to what I'm reading. And I know that's my non productive time. Now, this can also be things like massage. I did not have this on my list originally, but I did get a massage last week. And massage, if you like massage, I love massages. I think they're amazing. I walked away from that massage. So there was an hour of me just laying there and um being tended to, right? And it felt amazing and incredible. And I was calm for the rest of that day. I felt zen, right? I just felt calm and things didn't bother me. And I don't know. It was just a good day. So, massage, I know it's not realistic for everybody to get a massage regularly, but if you can get a massage and that kind of thing you enjoy, um, I definitely encourage it. So, those are just some examples. I'm sure you can think of other things. Like I would categorize a pedicure in with massage. Now, I know for some people, this is on their to do list. This is not something that I regularly do. So, if I'm going to go anything where like people are tending to me and like giving me a massage, giving me a manicure, giving me a pedicure, even getting a haircut. Like those are all self-care, almost types of rest to me because if someone's playing with my hair or rubbing my back or my head or my neck, I'm all for that. And that makes me feel rested. And like I said, when I walked out of that massage and I was calm the rest of the day, that's because that activated that parasympathetic state in my body. And I'll say this, I could tell from how calm I felt, it had been a long time since I had that state activated. And it was a good reminder for me like, yes, I'm doing these other things, and you may be too, but to really find that true rest. So if you're feeling resistance to this, you're not alone. This is the piece. This is one of the pieces. There's several pieces that my clients will resist, and this is definitely one of them. They're like, it's just not realistic. I just can't do that. And maybe it doesn't feel very realistic right now, but what if this is the way forward? What if this is the thing that helps to reduce your anxiety, helps to reduce your overwhelm, helps to reduce all of those other things? When our body is in a calm state, we can handle the other things that our lives throw at us, our spouses, our kids, our jobs. We can handle all of that better when we have had parasympathetic dominance times. So I would just challenge you if you're resisting this and your brain saying, this is stupid, this isn't realistic, we can't do this. I would just challenge you to challenge that and just ask, what if this is the way forward? So, this action step this week that I'm going to recommend may be the hardest one yet. And I'm going to encourage you. I mean, we have 2 weeks, right? I encourage you over the next 2 weeks, find time on your calendar and block out a 2-hour window this week for true restorative rest. Um, if you're a stay at home mom, you might have to wait until your husband gets home to do this. If you are a single mom, you might have to enlist a babysitter if you can. If your kids go to school and you go to work during the day, maybe you take a couple hours off of work. I'm not saying again, your brain might be like, that's not realistic. I can't take time off of work for this. I'm just trying to give you ideas. Like if your brain is going to try to resist this, it is going to push back at everything I said. I'm not telling you to do those things. I'm encouraging you to think outside the box and let your creative juices to flow where you're going to block off 2 hours in the next 2 weeks. You don't have to sleep unless you do want to take a nap. I'm going to encourage you to be on no screens. You're not going to be catching up on chores or tasks. You're going to choose something. And again, it doesn't even have to be things from the list I gave you. The list that I gave you is just some things to get your creative juices flowing. I will post in the Facebook group the idea of lists or the list of ideas. And I encourage you, please, like, give us other ideas of ways this could work, just to give all of the women in there different ideas. Like, my list is not all encompassing, right? You all will have better ideas that could work for other people or ideas that could work better for other people. So please share. And then maybe I'll add your ideas to my list to use in the future, or to use in like future teachings and things like that. So find something that your body is craving, right? Like, is it craving downtime? Is it to be reading? Is it to be getting a massage or going for a walk in the woods or going for a hike? I mean, this is if you live in the Midwest, this is a beautiful time to be doing that because we have the fall colors and you can go outside and see the leaves are changing and it is stunning out there. So anyhow, thank you for being here. Please post any of your questions. Love to hear your pushback too. That's one of my favorite things that I get from my clients is their pushback because one, it teaches me where they're at. And usually we can kind of work through and find something different that works for them, but fits in the same category. So anyway, that's it for today. I will post in the group throughout the next 2 weeks, and I'd love to see your feedback there.